So I'm told to talk about something that is close to my heart, and I think this is also a moment where I would like to teach you something that has taught me in the last 10, 15 years, to be a bit more human in the age of AI. I think we are all using AI now. I think there was a very interesting talk from the first speaker, and also very interesting and impulsive talk, how to look inside, by the second speaker. But I would like you to now think about borders, because I think first, before I ask this question, I would like you to think about this question a bit more in deeper sense. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought that you made a bad decision, or a decision that you didn't want it, or a dilemma or an indecision that you had in your mind that you were questioning, am I doing the right thing? Could you raise your hand if it was? Okay, I think this kind of thoughts whisper many times. I'm told by the researchers which are working on anthropology, they told that 75% of the people who have moved from a city to a new city, moved into a new house, but also sometimes trusting a new person, bringing them into their new life, has failed this situation, has felt this situation that they are in indecision, a dilemma or something like that. What I want you to know or note it here is that you are not alone. I think this is also the hand raised also tells it. You are not alone, and we all went through this situation. I'll paint a picture where I was first time moving to a big city, and I never wanted to be out of India where I studied. I had my first flight actually was to Paris, and it's a very beautiful city. But while giving these papers, crossing this immigration border, which you see also a representative image of Charles de Gaulle Airport, I was giving my papers to this person, and this person was just asking a question in English that, what's your purpose? And I answered in French. I do not know why. I tried to impress this person, I do not know, with my very A1 level. I had only studied 66 hours in 1.5 months, so that I could talk and buy grocery in Paris. But I do not know why I answered this question, and this whole evening I could not think more stupid of myself. Because he asked the question, what's the purpose? Are you a student? And I answered in French. And now my French is gone, my German is much better. But at that day, I didn't look off the bus which took us to the housing that was organized for us. People were making photographs of Eiffel Tower faintly looking. I was thinking, I'm so stupid. I was trying to impress a stranger with my French, and it was not working out because I had to answer in English again. And then I went through. But what I want you to note and take a message here, that sometimes we are in an indecision, dilemma. And there I was thinking that, did I do a right thing to move to Paris? Because I never wanted to be in a foreign land. I was very happy to be in Delhi studying all this stuff that I was doing, nuclear science and technology. But I believed in myself, and that's the message I want to give, to believe in self. The second thing that I would like you to think about is humility. I think as humans we need humility, and I think without humility we are nobody. I think we are not human if we are not humility. What I want here is that you have to think about situations of others as well, because sometimes we are thinking that we have the best situation or the worst situation. We are never thinking about that we are in the middle. We are never looking around that other people also have struggles. So these are invisible struggles. Invisible struggles that they are not talking about it because they are not visible to us. So let me paint a picture so that you can imagine. So as an international student, I thought, let me improve my A level, A1 level, or A2 level French to a bit better, so that I can talk to a bit more of my classmates. So what do you do as an international student? You register to a language course, exactly. So I registered a language course. My scholarship was not too high, so that I could not afford a very good course. I think many students can relate to that. So I registered to a subsidized government course, which is like a Volkshochschule, relevant. Similar to that. This was costing 10 euros for one course, and I could go every afternoon. So now imagine a building which is run down, lights are not that great, and it also smells a bit. And you are going into this class and you're thinking that I think I'm odd one out because I'm having only 2, 3 people who look like me or same age, but the rest of the people are something around 40, 45 or 50. And I thought, I went into the room and everybody's speaking very good French because they are already interacting and I'm just introducing myself, hello, comment ça va, that's it, nothing more. I want to improve and I was finding it very weird, and I think you will also find it weird, that most of the people in France, in Paris, they cannot be functional literate, what I mean, they could speak much better French, but they were not able to read and write. When I saw 10 minutes later that the person could not fill their nom and prenom in the form, which was so easy for me, and my level was A2 or A1, then I felt that they have much better struggle. They cannot get the government subsidy. They cannot apply for the housing discount, which I already have filled in 1 week. I would get half of my housing costs covered by the state. But they cannot do this, and I thought my struggle is, so I am the problem in this, I'm in the bigger problem. So I would like you to take this message from this short story from me. We have to be a bit aware and also discover the other people's challenges that are around us. And I think this makes us also empathetic. In this age of technology, we are all doing many things with AI and all these technological apps and stuff. There are a lot of struggles with people around us. I would like you to acknowledge them and also discover those. The next is very funny. When my language improved, I think it was not good enough. I think you can see on the image on the right there. So I was invited for a family dinner, very kind, and I think it was a very good occasion for me to connect, to belong. What I did is, I introduced myself. The friend of mine was very kind, invited to a family dinner. It was not Christmas, it was something, family birthday. I forgot now what it was. But I do remember that I felt really disconnected. I felt excluded because nobody asked me, apart from my name, what I do here, are you a friend of, and where do you live, and which city in India, and then they try to imagine India and then put some dots, and I had to tell, my city is not that big, it's just imagine Kolkata and Mumbai, and I'm in the middle, so it made sense for them. I do not know if it made sense for you, but that was it, and then people started to eat. I think if you know about French family dinners, there comes things, and I said in my broken French, please pass the pain. Like this, I realized that actually finally I got connected. Because the grandfather and the father and the mother, they all was laughing very hard, and I think this was not longer than 10 seconds, but it was really, really made me that connected. So sometimes I think we have to, as human, we have to feel not excluded, but have compassion and some kind of meaningful connection. And sometimes being vulnerable. So I would say that my vulnerability, that I use English plus French to explain the situation, to please pass the bread, was something that was helping me to connect. So I would like you to take this message as well. To be vulnerable in some situations is also nice, and this makes you a better human. I think if you have been, most of the students or researchers who come to Darmstadt, I think you cannot avoid your life without having a bank account. I think this is something, if somebody is here who is a student, have no bank account, I do not know if you are a student, right? You need a bank account because there are certain things which allows you to receive your scholarship or to pay for your costs and stuff. And I would like to talk about why we having some kind of understanding and empathy towards a person, and also some clarity about breaking the inner walls is very important as a human. As a human, we have to dismantle those inner walls within us. So I could do that first time when I had to go to Sparkasse with my friend. We had difficulty to say what we want. So typically there is always a very nice cashier or a receptionist. She was asking us a question. So like, what do you want? I think in the French. And we very fine. We said, do you speak English? I think most of the people who speak German, they are very taken a guard a bit. And this is something that I want to tell you, that you have to break that. And my friend also thought that I have this stereotype that I think the Germans don't want to speak English. But I think I realized at that moment to ask the right question. The right question that I asked at that moment was, do you understand English? And I can tell you that the answer was yes. We immediately could break both sides this barrier of curiosity that, okay, I might ask us to ask questions, but ask us to help. We both could break down or dismantle this inner barrier that we had towards each other that, okay, you can speak German, I could speak English. If we both understand and can still communicate, we can still do the business, open the bank account. So I would like to invite you to think in this way as well. Sometimes we have to break those inner walls and be a bit curious or courageous. So be courageous to break or dismantle those inner boundaries. The last one is very interesting because as a researcher in GSI or FAIR, where I'm working now, we always have to have group projects. I think every student is doing a group project where there is a group where one guy who is going to be very motivated, here like Ali, I want to do everything, and then collecting the most motivated people. Sometimes you are not lucky because professors are dividing into groups. And then you have a person who is actually going to do all the work and might get also presented, and then you all get the grades. So we also had this similar situation that we have a 1 week project and we had to understand a journal and present it. But it was something very, very hard for us. So I was getting a task that I need to present it. That's it. So I have to not understand it. I need to just make the presentation look good, scientific enough, using a LaTeX template. But this is not the main point. The main point was that we were understanding each other because we ordered pizza at the end, and this person also had some beers and stuff, and then as soon as we started to eat the pizza, we started to cheers. So everybody started first time to okay, in my language this, in my language this way. And I said na zdorovia to a colleague who is Russian. There were 2 more Ukrainians in the group, and they said, you should say budmo. And this word I just remembered. Budmo. And this image that you see on the right, that's what I want to come. I was 1 year later tasked by my professor, go to Krakow and make the presentation. And I went to make a presentation, and after the presentation was over, I went to the city. Somebody told me, there is a place where you get for 10 zloty a drink and 6 pierogis. I said, okay, I have no money, I go there. So I went to this place and I just ordered this. It was very difficult to order because there were not so many people understanding English. And this person who took the order was Ukrainian. And what I said, budmo, when he gave me the drink. And somehow I got actually 2 more pierogi for free and extra drink. So I would like you to just have this meaningful understanding, empathy, and also subjectiveness. Context. I think everybody uses AI. Is there somebody who has not used ChatGPT or any sort of chat bot? Is there somebody? Please raise your hand who has not used it. I don't see anybody, or at least it's not visible. We are, but these chatbots are not having the context, this subjectiveness that you have. I do not know why I remembered it, but this is what I got a context. Okay, I see the first Ukrainian and I have the cheers. I will use this because this would make maybe a smile. This was never a task that I will get a discount. But this was a very nice conversation, and I also learned about other places where I could get more cheaper foods, like zapikanki or something like that, only for 10 zloty again. But this was something that I would like you to take, that sometimes we need to be having a meaningful connection, and connection is only coming from, creates more experiences. Experiences are subjective, only to your own experience. But there I would like you to think about being more open, being more attentive, and have context, not just technology, because you have to imagine if I had just ordered via Lieferando or some sort of apps that is there, I could not write Budmo and I get a discount, right? So this is something that you have to know. You have to take all this with you. At last, I would like you to have this framework that I have developed for me, and at least this is what I try to do in my big science that we are doing for talents. So I would like you to cross at least one invisible border that you have in your mind that you could do. The second, I would like you to discover struggles of others around you. Be empathic to them. Understand that you are not in the biggest trouble. There are people who have much more difficult situations. The third, I would say that don't feel excluded, be vulnerable, and foster that connection. The last is to think about being compassionate, to understand and be compassionate towards people rather than suspicion. Trust people. And in cases you want people to come in your life, be that bridge, because you need to take care that you are allowing people to take you as a human. And choose being human over being perfect, because being imperfect makes you more human than being perfect. So my message is, let's think beyond technology, let's connect beyond horizons, and let's be better humans together. Thank you.